In this video, I start approximately where REZDtv stopped, just after the blowing up of the rock wall that was blocking the path to the caves that you see down the path further along the way. We are approaching the caves. I have turned off the sound that goes with Minecraft because I find it extremely annoying. And here you will see that I am very slow with the skills of aiming and destroying the hostile mobs. If somebody produces and posts a better video than this one, I will probably remove it because it is very tedious. I'm not enjoying the jerky movements. And constantly needing to turn back to see if Jetty and Yumiko are actually following me. These blue hanging lights are a nice useful landmark for getting your bearings. This is just an ongoing progression through the caves. Most of the time, the path that you want to take is the one that veers toward the right, but not always. And if you die and respawn, to get your bearings is sometimes difficult, at least for me. And it is not something that I enjoy. Okay, there you see the big ship, the huge ship, or the submarine. And there is a way, if you go through that opening, there is an alternate route to get to that ship. But you would bypass other parts that you need to get to, such as the castle, and parts of the adventure task and game as intended. And in general, if you don't do the sequence as intended, the adventure may not perform, or you may not be able to perform as intended. Here I am veering off to the left because from previous plays I know that there is a chest, and there it is. And from previous plays I know that near the very end of rescuing the queen, it's going to be very difficult to do battle with what is kind of a giant-looking iron golem. He's bigger than these other guys that we've seen that are bad guys so far, and he is not killed with this water blaster. It takes probably, I don't know, hundreds of sprays or hundreds of jolts with the welding torch. So I knew there was a recharger for the welding torch in that chest. So I went there to pick it up. I had also switched briefly to creative mode earlier and stocked up with some of the water blasters and some of these charger packs for the welder's torch. I also added a welder's torch. There is a chest that we did not go to that has a welder's torch, and I don't think I took that route. And sometimes after dying and respawning, I have no idea which direction I'm going. There are mob eggs that will create groups of villagers. So if you want to do something in creative mode, there are things that you can do. You just can't really go through the entire adventure and perform all the tasks as intended in totally creative mode. I am continuing to find that I have a tendency towards motion sickness and migraines in adventure mode. And we have just come to, I believe that was the red gate, but it's hard to tell because you don't get that panoramic view when you're fighting all these creatures. That was the red gate. I'll probably die here a few times. I do think it is quite a wonderful skill to be able to play and enjoy survival and adventure modes. I just do not have that skill. And I don't have the tolerance to spend a heck of a lot of time improving that skill. This is just taking too long with fighting, and I can't really see what there is to enjoy to see in the design of the game itself. So much of this terrain looks alike, especially when there are large sections of terrain that will look alike. And I also don't have the eye to distinguish that there really are differences that would help me along the way to get my bearings. I took a wrong turn here, and I am going to get back to the point that I was trying to get to, that area ahead of us with the sort of olive green bars. But I will obviously die and respawn. And I think the next time I will make it to the proper area to get to where we need to go. So the respawning, as it's done in this game or in this session, sends you back maybe, I don't know, 50 blocks or so. It sends you back a distance. It doesn't send you back to the beginning, so you're still a little bit ahead. I believe this is the wrong way to go. This is the same mistake I just made. I will have to backtrack. And there is the pathway with stairs or blocks stepping down. Not really stairs as in the construction blocks, but okay, here is the swordfish, royal swordfish, and there are 2 buttons lower down. And sometimes there seems to be a lag. Okay, now I'm finally getting the dialogue to open the swordfish pin. So you just have to, there's just a lag. Beach Bonfire had lags also. Notice that these swordfish are sort of a blue and white color, whereas the ones that are evil are brown and white. Also, I don't know if you noticed that the good royal swordfish help to fight the bad mobs. I don't know if it can get that little flying creature. And ahead, well, it was towards the left. Now it comes in and out of view. There it is. That huge ship or sub where the queen is being held captive. However, we must go to the castle first. I also tend to fall off ladders and fall off paths. which is another reason why my natural tendency and my preferred tendency, there I go, I'm going to die. Here we go again. I imagine this is not much fun to watch. I'm really mainly posting it not for experienced Minecrafters. I'm posting it for this video for others like myself who need some kind of a run-through to see how to do certain things, and then also who really don't enjoy potluck at just buying something, and who may come to experience, if they're really new, many major disappointments when products at the Minecraft store, I call it the Minecraft store because that is what I see when I am in Minecraft. I don't call it Minecraft Marketplace because I think there is a confusion of Minecraft Marketplace and Minecraft Store, especially for people who do not play Java. That can be very confusing. If you are experienced and play both Java and regular Minecraft Bedrock, Minecraft Better Together, or just plain Minecraft is what they call it in the forum. Don't get me started on that. It's like they should have gotten their terminology straight at the beginning. Experienced long-term Minecrafters, they already know all of this information, and they are not confused by these things. They expect there to be bugs and whatever. They expect games to be playable but not maybe perhaps an optimal working order. And I am just not one of those people. I expect a game to perform across all devices with minimal disruptions, with minimal glitches. I had hoped that Microsoft would work more carefully and cooperatively with developers, but evidently Mojang and Microsoft just throw whatever programming they want out there with no regard for people who have already purchased what some people call additional maps, what some people call add-ons. I call these purchased items from the Minecraft store. Sometimes it is worlds. Sometimes they're called mashups. Sometimes they are texture packs. Anything from the Minecraft store that's bought as a product, a cross-platform product, should work on all devices that the cross-platform encompasses, and should work as advertised, and should work in all modes, and preferably in all levels of difficulty. So, for example, I may be able to do an adventure mode if it was very peaceful or very easy. I probably still would not prefer it. I probably would still have difficulty with the bumpity bump along the way. So here you can see, while I've been talking, there's been quite a long pause in action, that there really is nothing else to do but sit around for several minutes while this dialogue goes back and forth. Finally, climb the stairs to access the roof. It may be possible just to go ahead and do that, but I have failed so many times in this adventure that I have learned, in my case, it's best to wait for the dialogue to happen as intended. In a different video, I have shown an area where Sealantians has a hidden underground large area with command blocks and redstone mechanisms. And some of those command blocks, based on what I've seen before, I perceive to be timing and computer programming for when some of this dialogue takes place. There are some things that are sequential by nature in this adventure world or adventure mode. And so, in my experience, if I don't follow the plan and don't pause for the dialogue, if I cheat too much, then I will never get this far. The only way I have found to get this far and to rescue the Queen is to actually be, most of the time, in adventure mode. I can occasionally have some cheats, but even that is very iffy. So if I wanted to see what adventure mode was all about and really work through the whole thing, I pretty much had to be most of the time, if not all the time, in adventure mode. And there is the launcher. There is also a mob egg that will produce the launcher, but without the programming that is built into this world that is hidden and underground, I don't think you would be able just to create or use a spawn egg to produce, there I go, I'm going to die again, to produce the launcher and have it perform as expected. I have not found a way to do that, and I did not try very hard, because I just suspect that it's just too built into the programming and not just independent in the block itself. I would probably just keep dying over and over and over here. So here is where I just could not stand it anymore. I'm going to creative. I am now in creative. Probably I won't be killed. I'll have a chance to kill some of these they're really based on iron golems, some of these baddies. In the game inventory, there is a different name. They look like deep sea divers. They might be called mech divers or something like that. I do like videos by Iboxy Toy Cat, because he does showcase videos, or he will do run-throughs, and when texture packs are available, or sometimes just in the game itself, so that you can see, especially in some of these games where they have not the traditional blocks, but they have modified blocks. And I do like those showcase types of games so that you can see what the blocks actually are. And since I have a tendency to accidentally break blocks, and then I want to make repairs, it's nice to know what the blocks are. I have figured out most of the blocks in this game. There is a green block, which is earlier on in the game, in the townhouses where you first encounter some of those little Sealantians. and I have tried for hours and cannot figure out what that block is. I have not found anything like it. I will probably take a picture and send a message to the developers. I've tried long enough. I'll usually try for half an hour, 1 or 2 hours, sometimes a few days, but when it starts getting past an hour, 2 hours, that's it. That's too much. Mission impossible. For newer people, it does help me, and it may help you, to go back to a basic Minecraft game without all these additional features, just the create new game and plain world, and maybe have on a separate device open the, oh, there's the Queen. We are now in this command room of this sub, and you'll notice she is behind iron bars and cannot get out. She's got this ongoing dialogue. Now I am switching back to adventure because I know that I cannot make the rest of this game work in creative in this particular area. And I know from previous sessions, the only thing I have found that to attack and do battle with this M-E-C-H-A, mecha, like mechanical, mecha boss, B-O-S-S, is the welder's torch. I have tried a few times switching to creative, and where I am better able to fly around and to try to back this mecha boss into a corner and maybe wear him down more while I am in creative mode, and then when I think he's a little bit more worn down, to switch back to adventure mode. I don't remember if that worked or not. I've tried so many different things. And I can't tell when he turns red. I thought that meant I had attacked him. These swordfish confused me. At first I thought all swordfish were good swordfish, and I thought they would help attack him, but I was absolutely wrong about that. So I probably had about a week of running through this game and not even being able to tell the difference. So obviously I am not that great at some of the finer points of skill in battle in Minecraft, but I think it's wonderful that people can do that. I'm just not one of them. The nice feature about dying in this room is that you respawn in the same room. So here, basically, I do know where I am. And I don't know what's going on here. I just keep doing something, and hopefully I'll get to a point where I can resituate myself and see this mecha boss. I thought he was turning red, but maybe he was just red because he was angry and he gets red when he shoots. I just have no idea. Here I have respawned again. Yay, finally. Finally. So here's some dialogue from Queen Diona, and I know from previous sessions that I need to go to where she is, wait for her dialogue, and wait for her to lead me to the escape pod. And here is where you see the blocks of the escape pod have opened. In the previous video, in the command area, with the command blocks and sandstone, there were some sections down there that I think either get teleported or are used to send the commands for some of these processes. Here we have been teleported in this escape pod near the palace. I'm going to try to go slowly up the steps. These coordinates, this is probably a whole alternate palace that looks just like the other palace, but the coordinates are different. And so it's kind of like a movie set. You know, they might have a movie set like in a town, might be the real thing, and back at the Hollywood studio they might have a replica of it. So it's kind of like a replica of the original palace. There really is a lot to explore in this world. Underneath the sea that they have created out of blue blocks and stained glass, or just plain clear glass. There are lots of levels. It's very big. The farthest I've found, you could maybe imagine a world that goes from like minus 2700 to plus 2700 east to west. I think it is much wider than it is tall, like from north to south. So here is another place where the dialogue goes on and on and on. There is the pearl of friendship. And I would prefer to be in creative mode so I could get a better view of the people who were talking without having to keep turning around. Okay, now this is the magic shell, which is a minecart but without rails. The first several times I attempted this, I was not able to move. I was able to move in it, but I was not able to have it go into this. And I'm trying now to go into creative mode so that I can have night vision, because I don't enjoy a very dim, dark world. In a previous run without night vision in pure adventure mode, this was all so dark. I really couldn't tell if I was going anywhere, if I was stuck. It was very frustrating. And I am coming to a point, like here, it seems that I'm stuck, so I just use the W key to move forward. And getting back to when I first entered the magic shell, it was necessary to move forward in the correct direction in order to be able to take off and fly or float back to this point. In a different previous video, I have shown the final point. If you paid attention to coordinates, or if you do your own game, the coordinates at the beginning of the game are very different from the coordinates here, even though it is, in theory, meant to be the same place. It's a duplicate place that is somewhat different, not totally exactly the same. But in the other previous video, I have a short video of the spawn point cabin at the end of the game, and then after hitting the replay button, where it goes back to the very beginning of the game and the game is reset. And that's when I really was able to detect that there were two different sets of coordinates. But this is and this is the other thing I like about creative mode. You're just better able to get a more panoramic view. I have not mastered moving through a game in the with the actual character of myself in whatever it's called, first person, either from the back or from the front, because the movements tend to, especially from the front view, the movements for forward, back, left, and right are somewhat opposite than they usually are. So I have not mastered that. But I wish that would be easier to do, because I like to see, I wish I could look ahead, see a little bit of myself, and see more of my surroundings. Replay the map by heading back to your room. Well, I wouldn't really call it your room. It really is the spawn point. There is a room in the cabin, like a bedroom upstairs, but that is not the room that they are talking about here. So here I switched the perspective back so that I can properly maneuver. Notice that the walls are bare here. The original button is gone. And here, the original spawn room did not have this reset button or replay button. And now the game has reset. There is no reset button. And the button in this room to restart the game has returned. Thank you for watching.